ED.
Oh,
Um, Time to get back on track. You got one in Cincy. Now it's time to you got to beat the bums. That's what Keenan Allen said. You got to beat the bums. You
you
got
got
some
to
bums
beat the
coming to
bums.
town, right?
In Atlanta, the Falcons, they're bums.
Bums.
I said it. They're bums.
You heard
Hate
it
the
here
Falcons.
first. This is the Believe in 49ers podcast on the Believe Podcast Network. He is Super Bowl champion Eric Davis. I'm Rahshaun Haylock. Plenty to get to on this show. It'll be the Niners and the Falcons at the Field of Dreams. We'll get into that. We'll get ED's keys as well. But of course, first, we want to encourage you to continue to download, subscribe, rate, and review. We're located wherever you find your podcast. If there's a like button or a follow button on your particular podcast subscription service, go ahead and hit that like or follow button. Hit us up on social media. I'm at R. Haylock. He is at _ Eric Davis _ on Twitter, and on Instagram, I'm at Watch Ray Ray. He is at Eric Davis _ _____. That's 4.
Yep.
As always, we're brought to you by the fine folks at Bet Online. Look, whatever you want to play, they got you, right? You want action, they got that action, boss, right? So just go ahead, head over to the brand new updated desktop or mobile website to sign up today. Receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just use our promo code BELIEVE50, that's BLEAV 50, to receive your bonus from basketball, football, NHL, boxing, UFC, right down to your favorite Vegas casino games. They got it all. Don't wait to take advantage of this amazing offer available for the 2021 season. Bet Online, where the game starts. He is Super Bowl champion Eric Davis. I'm Rahshaun Haylock. So ED, let's talk a little bit. So, all right. So I was thinking a little bit, right? Like, all right. I was highly critical of the Bengals loss, or
Yes,
the
you
Bengals
were.
win, rather.
Hater.
But I guess
Look at that. Look at that Freudian
right.
slip.
See
That's
that?
how you feel about it.
Right?
It won the game.
Is that a Freudian slip? Is that what they call that?
That's what it is. That's it. Yeah. Either that or ghetto truth or Freudian slip, whatever one you want to call it.
Ghetto truth. That's a new one. So I was highly critical, right? And so I'm sort of thinking about this, and I'm like, all right, well, kind of what's the difference between that and then remember how we were sort of praising them for the win against the Eagles earlier this season, right? Tough game on the road. It was dirty. It was grimy. You pull it out, yada yada yada. And so, I'm watching this Bengals game, and I'm just highly critical, right? And the expectations. We talked about the expectations. And it's not so much that I'm looking in the past. It's like what I think this team can actually be, right? And so I think that was like a little bit of my frustration as well. But
understandable.
But you sort of think about it. I sort of peel back the onion a little bit, and you think about, look, it's a December win, right? Wins are hard to come by, right? And so I got to a point where I was a little bit salty, but it was. I mean, look, at this time of year, there is no such thing as a bad win, right? Because in a couple weeks, a bad win will have you, advancing, right?
at no time is a win a bad thing.
Yeah. No. And so that's kind of where I am. I've been kind of wrestling with this.
Have you let it go? You still haven't let it go?
I have partially.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we're on Atlanta now, right? So that being said, I can't you're already know you're gonna kill me for this.
You can't let it go.
I can't.
You can't let it go.
Yeah, but I go back to 2019, right? Remember that Atlanta game at the Field of Dreams?
Yeah.
Julio makes this fantastic catch at the goal line. Pretty much, I want to say it was as time expired. It was close. It was late stages of the game, right? So right at the end, right? Bang, bang play.
Yeah.
In a game that they should have won and almost cost them the division, right? They had to end up going to Seattle and winning in dramatic fashion, this, that, or the other, right? So Atlanta, look, they're bums. You got to show up against the bums. You got to beat the bums, but you cannot sleep on the bums, right? And so that is a little bit concerning to me, right? Like, is this team mature enough? Is this team good enough to be able to sleep on this team and still have success? And I don't think so.
No team in the NFL is good enough to sleep on any other squad and have success. No one. Because we can sit here and joke and make these references about Atlanta being, a bum team. What we're really saying is that they're having a bum season. Everybody on that field is a professional. They're all good.
Yeah.
So if you walk out there on the field, thinking that you can just roll your helmet out there and put on your cleats and you're going to win, it's not that easy. All the guys understand that. What should give them and put them in position to win this game is that Kyle knows this offense. He knows the signal caller intimately. So when you're going against someone in that fashion, I can just use this from my days leaving the 49ers and going to the Carolina Panthers. We had tremendous success against them, offensively and defensively. Tell you why. I knew exactly what the offense was, and I used to sit there with them and with the defensive coaches and like, okay, this is what they like to do in this situation, and this is what they're going to do here. And when they get 3-by-1, I had gone against it all day, every day for 6 years. I knew what they were going to do offensively. Defensively, I would tell the offensive coaches, this player does not like doing this. That particular player can't do this. If you want to know which person to attack, look at this player, because that player is going to be in the line of fire because of their skill set. So these type of things you can use to game plan a team. You got to play the player. I've always said that one of my isms is that you play the player. You game plan an offense or a defense, but you play the player. Kyle Shanahan and DeMarco should have a great opportunity to game plan this team because of the intimate knowledge that they have against them. So that's why I think they will go into this game with a certain confidence level that should allow them to win that game. Because you already said it. This is another should win. This is a should win game, and you got to walk away with the should wins.
This is definitely another should win game, right? So you have, it's imperative, right? Especially this time of year, right?
Yeah.
Because with the win last week, you ended up increasing. You gave yourself a little bit of a cushion. I mean, it's not much, but you gave yourself a little bit of a cushion. So you don't want that to be negated because of a loss against a team that you should have beat or that you should beat. At home, no less, right? And we know what the home woes have been like for the team this season, but it seems like they sort of have turned the page in that regard. I want to talk about Jimmy. I know I joked about it a couple weeks ago, and that he was the best. He for a period of time, he was the best quarterback in the league, according to folks over at at PFF. But in all seriousness, since week 8, he's been really good. Like he's really good. He's playing very well.
Yes, he's playing well within the offense. Kyle is trusting him. He's building. We said that Kyle had to pick a guy, and because you can't go with 2 quarterbacks in this league, you got to build behind somebody and set your plan behind them, especially when they have different skill sets. Kyle has started game planning for Jimmy, allowing Jimmy to do the same type of things he was doing in 2019. And it's been successful. Since those two have been together, when he game plans for him and allows him to do the things he does, even through the mistakes, they've had success. So I'm not shocked with that. Now, I just, my whole thing is like the best. I always tell you I can see, I do watch the game so I can see. So there's a difference between, really good stats. Kirk Cousins is going to have top 5 stats every year. Kirk Cousins is not a top 5 quarterback, but his stats fuel the argument that people have every year. And I always I get into that conversation with people every offseason, just like how you're doing this with Jimmy. And all I'm going to say is this. Give me your list of the best quarterbacks in the league. I guarantee you neither one of those guys are going to fall in the top 5. So why are we having this discussion?
Yeah.
So the relevance is, are you winning? Are you doing what you need to do to win football games? Yes. And that's what I've always said about Jimmy. Jimmy does the things necessary for him to win games. And obviously, when he's under center, the coaching staff and the players around him believe that they can win. And that's important.
I was listening to Keyshawn the other day, and he was sort of saying the same thing. Keyshawn Johnson, that is. He was saying some of the same things that we've been talking about on this show, right? And it was kind of his importance kind of glossed over, right? Because they didn't have to throw the ball against the Packers in the NFC title game, right? And then the missed throw in the Super Bowl, right? And just how different we'd be looking at Jimmy right now and not even necessarily the Packers game, but like he completes that throw. And this is Keyshawn said he's a $250, $300 million quarterback. I don't know if I'd go that far, but the entire narrative has changed, right? And he probably is one of the most higher paid quarterbacks in the league. And Trey wouldn't even be here right now, right? No. Like the entire narrative changes if he completes that one throw.
If he completes that throw, he has an extension already. He is a $250 million quarterback. Without question, that would be the case. He'd be a $250 million quarterback. I agree with Keyshawn on that, because they would have given him the extension because that's the going rate for starters. They would have locked him down because there wouldn't have been a reason to not lock him down. And no, you wouldn't trade away the 2 1s and a 3 to get a quarterback, because they would have felt like they had a quarterback. They would have drafted corners. They would have drafted other things with those picks. Because they would have felt that was a more glaring need. There's no way he makes that throw and saves the game and they move on. Impossible.
Look, I mean, I'm gonna give Jimmy his flowers whenever the opportunity presents itself. And lately, look, he's been lighting it up, and you got to give him props for that. He's been lighting it up, similar to how you lighten it up this holiday season with Lightbox ED.
Well, yeah, I was about to say I'm not lighting it up as well as Lightbox is, but they want you to say goodbye to the dough gifts. All right, Lightbox has these lab-grown diamonds, and they are the brightest gift of the year. So they have figured out a way. They use cutting-edge technology and innovative techniques, and they have cracked the science of sparkle, my man. So they create the highest quality lab-grown diamonds that you can possibly find, and it is at a very light price of $800 per carat. I'm telling you guys, you need to get that significant other onto this, because you can walk away like a champ at $800 a carat. So they have the same chemical makeup of a natural diamond, but they're just grown in a lab. So because of that process, they can create a blush pink. They got a beautiful blue. And of course, like my boy Rahshaun keeps in his grill, they got the classic white. Always got to have that for your grill. So Lightbox lab-grown diamonds are a gift that they'll never want to take off, and they are priced so that you won't ever have to worry about them taking them off. So they really do make any outfit sparkle. So visit lightboxjewelry.com and add a little bit of sparkle to your holiday shopping. That is lightboxjewelry.com. Lightbox diamonds, never a dull moment.
He is Super Bowl champion Eric Davis. I'm Rahshaun Haylock. You say something, and it's a team will only go as far as a defense will only go as far as their secondary.
No. A team will only go.
A team. Okay. A team. I was right the first time.
No, yeah. A team is going only as far as the secondary will take it.
And so I'm thinking about that Rams team that made the Super Bowl recently, right? What was that? 2016, I want to say. And they started out the year just unreal, right? I mean, number one offense, number one defense, they were just fantastic. Aqib Talib goes down. All of a sudden, that defense, gets a couple black eyes throughout the course of the season. And then once he comes back, they return to their stout self. They ended up making it to the Super Bowl. And I don't want to say that it's the same effect, but I'm seeing a similar effect when E-Man is not on the field for this 49ers defense. And I'll go back to the beginning of this year. Like, I never thought that I would say that. In fact, I thought that the Niners would be in some sort of trouble, with him having, a much larger role. But as it's turned out, he's been their best guy. He's been a needed guy. And when he's not out there, it's certainly felt. as far as the secondary goes. How are you seeing the same thing that I'm seeing in terms of just the impact just declining when he's not out there on the field?
Well, definitely. We saw it last week, particularly. You had to change the scheme. They haven't been. This has not been a cover two defense. It hadn't been a cloud corner defense, and that's what they did last week. They basically, when you go, just to make it as simple as you possibly can, cover two defense. All you're basically saying is that I want to get my corners out of coverage, and I'm going to put the coverage on the safeties down the field. So I'm going to line my safeties up deep, and all I want my corners to do is slow those guys down enough so that the rush has time to get there. So you're going to try to be disruptive with the guys at the line of scrimmage, but really you're going to let them run down the field and the safeties cover them, as opposed to manning them up and your corners covering them. So when you don't, you got to have at least one corner. When a defensive coordinator doesn't have one corner, that's what I have to do. I got to play cover two. If I got one corner, now I can roll my defense. I can help out one side of the field. I can double one side. I can take that one corner and say, you know what? I'm going to put him on the path of least resistance. I know he can take care of their number two receiver or their number three receiver. I can erase him. Now I can double the other guys. That's what you miss when you don't have E-Man right there, because you don't have at least one guy that you trust to hold up consistently. So you have to close and fold a lot of plays in your playbook, because you don't get an opportunity to call those, because you don't have anybody that you feel comfortable holding up. It's not just, okay, I'm gonna make this call and hope they live through it. DeMarco's trying to keep his job too. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, look, this is his first crack at it, right? So he wants to prove to Kyle and John and the powers that be that, look, I mean, you made the right decision, right? You know, and so cool, props to him for being able to make that adjustment, you know, on the fly like that. I mean,
Exactly.
You're getting away from what you've been known for throughout the course of the last few seasons here, right? Like you're changing it up. To give yourself a chance to be successful, and as a coach, that's all you can do is put your guys out there on the field for an opportunity to be successul. So
yes, you can't just run the scheme because that's your scheme. That's what we say all the time. You have to adjust the plan to the players that you have.
Yeah. I mean,
that's it. Because as I said, the plan is not going to rise to the level of the talent. The talent can only rise to the level of the plan. That's just how it is. So if you set that plan too high, it's just not going to happen. If a guy can't do it, he can't do it. But I can plan around what you can do. Yeah.
As I've heard it said often, it's not about the X's and the O's, it's about the Jimmys and the Joes. And you know, he's trying to get his Jimmys and Joes to fit into those X's and O's. Time now for your keys, ED. Niners taking on Atlanta. Niners right now in that sixth spot in the NFC playoff picture, opportunity to increase, to gain a little bit even more of a cushion perhaps, but more importantly, just stay in there, stay in the picture. So what do you got for your keys, ED?
Tackling, you touched on it. I don't know if it was the last part or what, but
it was when I was on my I was on my soapbox about the Bengals game. Absolutely. I said tackling was poor.
You touched on the fact that these guys are tackling. That was a big deal. You kind of felt some kind of way about the tackling. It's going to be important to tackle this week, especially if you go back into this game with that cover two scheme. Matt has the arm to be able to get the ball into those holes and take advantage of those positions. So you're going to have to make certain that you are tackling well. Remember I said you're shifting that coverage to the safeties down the field. Fortunately, you got very good tackling safeties on this team, but it's going to be key that you do that. Corners, the few times that you're going to be in those one-on-one situations, make certain that you're holding up. You got to make certain that you hold up, because Atlanta's going to try to get the big plays, and be prepared on teams and on defense for the trick plays, the double passes, the double reverse passes, the fake punts and kicks and onside kicks and all those type things. Make certain that you take advantage of those things on teams and on defense. Make certain you do that. Offensively, just play tough. I want them to dial up the angry. I want them to show an offensive football team shows its toughness by running the ball. I think this is a team in the Atlanta Falcons that they are accustomed to this time of year, getting the U-Hauls ready. I think if you just body blow them, just Mike Tyson them, get them in the corner and just crack ribs, I think that they will just fold and you can make them walk away. And I think this needs to be a physical game from the offensive standpoint, and they need to get into the mauling and then do the play action off of it.
Cincinnati offensive line has been just atrocious, right? And the Niners were able to take full advantage of that last week, 5 sacks. That defensive line has been playing great as of late. Hopefully that continues as well. Those were ED's keys here on the Believe in 49ers podcast. So it'll be the Niners and the Falcons, 1:25 p.m. local kickoff. That'll be on CBS, not Fox, one of those rare NFC CBS games. So it'll be a CBS game, 1:25 local kickoff. For my partner, Super Bowl champion Eric Davis, I'm Rahshaun Haylock. This has been the Believe in 49ers podcast on the Believe Podcast Network. We will see y'all next week.
Peace.